A
Korea.
friend.
He's talking about.
Huh?
South Korea.
Oh, that makes more sense. Okay.
So he says if they don't want to pay for the protection, then they're going to have to get their own protection. That's what he's saying. He's not telling them to get the bomb, but he said,
And what happens when a country...
They may not have a choice if the U.S. pulls out because they don't want to pay for their protection.
You know what that sounds like? That sounds like the mafia. That sounds like organized crime coming around to a local candy store or cleaners and saying, listen, for X number of dollars a week, we promise you won't have any trouble, no broken glass, nothing's going to be robbed.
Exactly.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Why should we do it for free?
Well,
that's basically what he's doing is what he always does best.
You're ripping people off. That's
what?
Well,
he's doing what?
It's business. He's doing what he knows how to do best, and that's being a businessman.
Yeah.
Oh, you know who you sound like now? You sound like Abe Vigoda in The Godfather when he sided with Barzini when they had that big meeting, and he says to Tom Hagen, he said, tell Michael I always liked him. He said, but this was just business. And that's what the mafia says. When they give you that kiss of death before they kill you, it's only business. You may be the greatest guy in the world, but business is business.
Yep.
Take the gun. No, take the cannoli. Leave the gun.
I mean, Japan's economy is doing great. They don't have an army to support.
Up until they're not allowed to have it. It's written in their constitution after World War II.
I know.
They just started to petition to have an army of their own.
Yeah.
Because they said it's about time. It's 60 years, 70 years after World War II. And they want to be able to protect themselves. They don't want to have to rely on other countries to protect them.
No, well, okay, that's fine.
Now getting back to the elections, though, we have Bernie sitting down with the president. He put his arm around him. He said, listen, comrade, that was supposed to be a joke.
I know. I'm laughing inside.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. Bernie will slowly come around, which is surprising because before the 5 primaries on Tuesday, that Super Tuesday, Bernie said he's going to carry it all the way to the convention, and he probably will. But I think, as a show of unity, it would be really nice if he was the one after the first, ballots are cast and everything. If he's the one that places Hillary Clinton's name in nomination or makes it unanimous by, withdrawing his name and everything, and then we have hopefully peace and harmony in the Democratic Party.
Well, I think right now he didn't get all those points across yet.
Well, that's why I say I think if Elizabeth Warren is selected to run as vice president, I mean, she's, like I said, closer politically to Bernie Sanders than to Hillary Clinton. So, the progressives may be satisfied.
Yeah, the problem with that is you need the people in the center to be on your side. You go too far to the left, you lose the center.
Well, but didn't we just watch, I hate to say this, folks, Fox News? And who was the guy that was on? You know him.
Yeah, I don't know his name.
He was taking over for O'Reilly tonight, and not that I watch Fox News, I usually don't. But he said that usually what happens is after the conventions, okay, and you have 2 nominees, the candidates generally come toward the middle from the right and the left.
Yeah.
So, I mean, because basically America votes toward the middle.
That's what I'm saying. It may hurt her.
Center middle,
if she's too far to the left all the time.
Well.
And Joel says, I predict a landslide victory for Hillary. in November.
Well, tell him that that's what his friend Ed says every time we have coffee. I keep saying it's going to be a lot closer.
Well, the polls say it's a dead heat right now.
I honestly think
I know.
I honestly think that it is going to be a very close race. It's going to, I mean, percentage-wise, the numbers are going to be really close together.
Well, right now they're showing them being very close together.
I can't believe that. Of course,
I think it's going to be even closer. I mean, let's face it. We're making history here. We made history with Obama, with a black president. Now we're making history once again. I mean,
the glass ceiling has broken. If you go back to 2008.
And I feel both candidates have the back. When it comes to the people, they have the backing. There's a lot that want Trump. There's a lot that want Hillary.
Well, like Felix.
It's neck and neck. It's really going to be a neck and neck.
Well, like Felix, like the Rev said before. Okay. Bottom line is, and we all agree, no matter how outlandish Trump is, his followers love him more and more. There's nothing that will detract from those followers.
That was actually.
But keep in mind, and I'm going to keep saying this until we do have a new president. His followers are there to be entertained. I don't think. I mean, granted, I know he does have a lot of followers that believe in him, but it's mostly for the entertainment. He's an entertainer. He's a businessman. I really, honestly can't see him being in office. I just can't see it.
Well, I'll tell you. I really don't think that in his business dealings he had much compromise. I think basically whatever it was that he said pretty much went. Okay? I don't know how many people actually stood up to him and gave him an honest assessment of some of his ideas. You know, when you're president of the United States, you take a lot of heat. Okay? Not everybody agrees with you, and you have to learn compromise. I mean, look, Clinton would have liked a much bigger package for the stimulus back in 2009. That whole first year when he was arguing with the Senate and Congress, and he had a Democratic Senate and Congress back then. But these people were afraid of their jobs and then subsequently lost their jobs. So he had to keep it, under $1 trillion. But you've got economists like Paul Krugman who said he really didn't go far enough. What the government should have done was gone in 100%, okay, throw as much money into the economy as possible to spur business, to get people out of the hole, okay? And they only went so far. It's like the commercial for Liberty Mutual. Okay, when they talk about your insurance company only covering 3/4 of your car after an accident. So the woman says, "Can you drive on 3 tires?" Can the country survive on 3/4 of a stimulus when they really need 120%? Not that they would have gotten 120, but it stopped short of the number that they really needed.
Well, that happens always.
We need someone that knows what they're doing. I mean, he doesn't really have any political background whatsoever.
And
he
funny,
was never
but
in politics. He was never a congressman. He was never a senator. So, I mean, for him to run a country...
Well, it's fun.
I'm sorry. I want someone that has been in politics, that knows a little bit more.
Well,
we need somebody that's crooked, like Crooked Hillary. That's the politician.
It's funny that you bring that up because Mitch O'Connell said today that Trump needs a strong vice president who is familiar with the runnings of Washington and politics and decision-making politically as an assistant, as a vice president, because he said Trump just doesn't have those qualities. The people want somebody who's an outsider, but he has to surround himself with people who know how
Well,
Washington
which is
runs.
what he said he was going to do anyway. He said, he says you have to go to the generals and you have to go to the people that know what their feels.
Well, but I don't know if you
them.
remember. But I don't know if you remember when he said that he's going to bring back enhanced interrogation and the like. The general who was in charge of the CIA said that I don't care what he says. I will not give that order to my operatives. Okay, and Trump, rather than finding a midpoint for to compromise, said, "Well, I'm going to be the president of the United States. He's got to do what I want, or I'll fire him." I mean, that's what he said.
But he dropped that also.
Yeah, but still, he still said it. You could do a lot of things. You can't take back things that you've said.
Well, listen, if they can't do that, then they're all out of business.
At some point, he believed it because he said it.
At some point, everybody says stupid things. Just he says more of them.
He's a 1%er. I guess he can.
More than that all the time, and his mouth is what's going to get this country into trouble.
Well,
Hey, look. Meanwhile, like I said, Fox News last month had, believe it or not, Trump ahead by 3 percentage points. Now the poll that they just ran has Hillary up by 3 points. So he's already dropped 6 points. Now that's going to change come the convention and after the convention, and then, in August, September, and October, the big push, those 3 months before the election.
But those 6 points are all within the margin of error.
Well, no, the 3 points is within the margin of error.
Yeah, so he went either way, 3 points. Still the same thing.
Right, and that's crunch time.
Well, that's why, and then if you watch like MSNBC, they have, if you go by 2012, the election results from 2012, they showed Obama with the Electoral College. And he had like 339 electoral votes, and Romney had whatever Romney had. And they said, if Trump takes Florida, Ohio, and Pennsylvania, that'll put him over 270. But by the same token, they said it looks like Texas may actually go Democratic for the first time in over 20 years because Texas has a lot of Latinos.
But did you hear what they also just came up with?
What?
This was on the Trump's popularity rating or approval rating with the Latinos went up to 37%.
I know. I watched the same program you did. I heard it.
He also had it on MSNBC yesterday.
I know, but who knows where that is? If that's Arizona, Florida, I don't know.
That Trump will take Florida with what
well, right now,
I honestly think that he will take that state.
He might. That's
Florida was the state that elected George W. Bush.
It's his second home, Florida.
Yeah, but now you're talking Latino. Do you know how much South Florida is Latino now?
But
do you know that South Florida, where I used to live, is all Central America?
They're mostly Cubans.
Yeah, but they're Cubans, and Cubans are heavily Republican and
Cubans
conservative.
Are Republicans, and they hate Mexicans.
They have their own area. There's Little Cuba in Miami. But talking Fort Lauderdale, Coral Springs, Boca, besides the fact that a majority of Boca is still predominantly Jewish, you have a lot of people from South America. I couldn't believe the people that I met when I was down there. So
I'll tell you something.
They're also on the West Coast as well.
I'll tell you.
Well, and don't forget,
people in Florida are not a problem, the Hispanics, because they're mostly legal immigrants.
Well, you don't even have to point to the Hispanics, the Latinos in Florida. But, northern Florida, the Panhandle, and the West Coast, that's all Republican territory. All right? The only place you have a heavy concentration of Democrats is in Boynton, Boca, Fort Lauderdale,
Yes,
Deerfield Beach,
southern, southeast,
the southern tip of Florida. That's
southeast
it.
Florida. Yeah.
That's it. Even in the middle of Florida.